Thank you everyone for coming tonight to remember Vanessa Helder and her centennial year.
We interrupt this program for some breaking news. We go to our international affairs correspondent, Dee Cordell.
Good evening. The World Health Organization, in a stunning announcement today, said there is evidence the first COVID-19 case in Wuhan, China, occurred actually several months prior to December of 2019. Chinese officials now say they're investigating the contacts of the first known person in Wuhan confirmed to be COVID-19 positive. That was the outgoing president of the Rotary Club of Wuhan. Officials in China say they suspect he contracted the disease while attending a Rotary International convention in Germany in the spring of 2019. Stay tuned for more developments.
Well, that's intriguing. We're here today to honor the accomplishments of Vanessa Helder, who guided us through one of the strangest years in the 100-year history of Marysville Rotary Club. Who here wants to be the first to talk about the Rotary year under President Vanessa Helder? Well, if no one else is interested, I'm going to go first, and I'll happy to begin with one significant observation. It appears that Vanessa really wanted to make a statement with Marysville Rotary's 100-year celebration. So much that she mentioned it an average of 14 times a meeting. My statistics engineer calculated this to be an average of 52 weeks of in-person meetings, Zoom meetings, and emails, which calculate to 1,078 100-year mentions. I pondered the possibility of turning it into a drinking game, taking a shot every time she mentioned the celebration. But if it were a drinking game, it would take a week to get rid of the hangover. Of course, despite big promises, for some reason we couldn't have the big celebration. All that build up, and we never got to pop the cork, to have a full experience, to go all the way with the Big Bang Centennial.
But certainly that isn't Vanessa's fault. I'd like to point out a lot of good things Vanessa accomplished.
We again interrupt this program for some breaking news. Here's Dee Cordell with some important new information.
Chinese officials tonight claim that COVID-19, which has killed more than 500,000 people worldwide, did not actually originate in Wuhan, China. The Chinese premier declared that investigators in his country have determined that the president of the Rotary Club of Wuhan returned from Germany after being exposed to an American who he recalls coughing and complaining of a headache while in line at the airport on his final day in Europe. The Rotary president was able to provide an identity of this American, the premier said, because they had identical carry-on bags and each took the other's bag by mistake. He learned her identity and mailed the bag back to her in Northern California. We'll keep you posted on this developing story.
Madam President, if I could just share one of my memories. You know, early on this year, Vanessa had this fantastic idea of having everyone wear their Rotary pins and encouraging them to do that. So what she did is she had people wear their pins, and then she would call out their names, and then we'd get to win a cash prize. It could be $1, $5, $10, $20, and we were all really excited about this. So early on, everyone wore their pin. Early means everyone. When she said, would you, everyone stand, who has their pins? Everyone raised their hand. And then, but then she started calling the names out. And then we knew there was a problem.
All right. So now that we're coming to the end of our meeting, it's time to see who's wearing their Rotary pin today. If you could please stand up. All right, let's draw some names. Frank M. Booth. Frank Booth, are you here today? No? Oh, next name. Gordon Cinnamond. Gordon? No. All right, last name. Walter Lewis. Walter Lewis.
So we're all looking at each other thinking, who are these people? But the name sounded strangely familiar. And then I heard Walter Lewis. Walter Lewis. He's our first Rotary president from 100 years ago. And I realized, oh, Vanessa's got the wrong list. So I call out, hey, Vanessa, you've got the list of old past dead presidents. But at that point, Vanessa put me into my place.
I'm the president, and I'm in charge of this meeting.
Yes, I think I remember that meeting. However, there is more to the story. I'd like to read from an extensive list of accomplishments during Vanessa's year. For instance,
I say again, interrupt this program for more breaking news. Here's the always professional Dee Cordell.
Oh, are we on? President Trump tweeted tonight that China is faking when it says it has evidence that a member of an American Rotary Club who attended the Rotary International Convention in Berlin, Germany, is patient one, responsible for spreading COVID-19 around the world. Trump tweeted, "We have the best Rotarians in America, and we all know this started in bats in Wuhan. It is the Wuhan flu, not the four-way test flu. China is just trying to make me look bad," he said, adding, "Besides, Rotary is the only good thing to come out of Chicago, so China couldn't pick on Rotary." The story is developing quite quickly. We will keep you posted.
I recently conducted an investigation on various projects that Vanessa touted about and during her year. And if you don't mind, I've prepared a series of reports that will explain Vanessa and her year. Gerald here, your 5180 reporter. I'm out here looking at the Yuba Sutter Food Bank and looking for our Vanessa Helder. I'm not able to find her, so back to you in the studio. Hi, this is Gerald again down here in downtown Marysville, down Lake Ellis, looking for Vanessa Helder, not to be able to find her anywhere. So if you know where she is, let me know. Otherwise, back to you in the studio. News reporter, I'm out here at Yuba College. There was supposed to be a project with 3 or 4 Rotary clubs and a beautification project. I don't see anything happening, and I'm not finding Vanessa Helder again. So back.
listen, everybody, give me a chance to talk about some of the good things.
Sorry, Tim, but we interrupt this program just one more time for breaking news. Here's Dee Cordell with a very, shall we say, sober assessment of the situation.
Here we go. Okay. Officials of District 5180 of Rotary International have just confirmed that State Department officials are investigating China's claim that a president of one of the clubs in its district is actually patient zero, the source of the COVID-19 pandemic. The district identified the individual as, wait for it. Oh God, that's good. Screwball, you gotta try it. Peanut butter whiskey. Anyway, sorry, where was I? The district identified the individual as Vanessa Helder, the 2019-2020 president of the Rotary Club of Marysville.
This is bad. This is really bad.
You know this happened before you were governor?
Well, it might not be as bad as I thought it was, but this is really bad.
The district said Vanessa Helder acknowledged meeting the Wuhan president and spending a significant amount of time with him during a long queue at the airport and taking his carry-on bag by mistake. By mistake, please. Who does that? However, she adamantly denied being patient zero and insisted the whole thing is fake news. Oh my gosh. She said, "I'm a photographer. I make pictures. And I know when I'm being framed." That's a quote. Back now to your regularly scheduled programming.
Boy, that explains a lot. You know, out of sense of obligation, I feel like I need to blow the whistle on this whole thing. I was on her board of directors, and I saw it happening from the start. At first, I didn't realize anything was wrong, but after hearing her plans at length for the 100-year project, plus all the other things she wanted to do, at 2 consecutive board meetings, I began to get a little suspicious. After I heard her plans for the 4th meeting in a row, I knew something was up. Plus, I was getting a little bit sleepy hearing it. Maybe she was hiding something. After the 6th repetition, telling us about the same plans, but with nothing ever actually happening, I knew she was hiding something. Was she trying to lull us to sleep for some sinister motive? Why would she tell us the same things over and over and over? Well, it did work. We went to sleep. When COVID broke, we weren't prepared, and it's her fault. I remember her standing in Washington Square Park.
This is where I want to build the monument to Rotary. It'll be a huge building right over here. There won't be power or water, but people can bring their own, and the city of Marysville thinks it's a great location. The police like it too. They're not worried about homeless hanging out or anybody, littering up the place. So the structure will be right up here, right in the corner area, and the estimates for cost have come in very reasonably at about $2 million. It's going to be a great location, great visibility, and there's going to be a wonderful opportunity to purchase bricks. All the past presidents' names are going to go on engraved bricks, and they're going to be stacked all on the ground, all around this Taj Mahal-sized structure to represent all the wonderful people and the things that Rotary has done for Marysville. And we're also going to let other Rotarians buy bricks to have their names engraved on it, and we're going to use that money to help bring down the overall cost of the project, which, as I said before, is a really reasonable $2 million.
So this is starting to make a lot of sense to me now. Vanessa didn't want the members getting any money from this pin thing. So at the end of her term, people were sick of the pin thing. In fact, if people had a pin on, they'd put it back in their pocket so they wouldn't participate. So, but I'm a good soldier. Vanessa's a good friend of mine. We're actually distantly related. I'm the program chair. Of course, the best programs I scheduled, she canceled because they were too political. And then, but aside from all that, I wore my pin. So when she asked people who has pins, I'm the only one that raised my hand. She started reading the names again, and the problems continued.
All right, thank you to our guest speaker today, and it's time to see who's wearing their Rotary pin and showing Rotary pride today. If you're wearing your pin and you're here today, can you please stand up? We're going to draw our first name. Rod Bilby. Rod? No, okay. Deb Coulter. Deb, no. Phil Krebs. Phil? Well, next week, we'll try again.
So finally, in frustration, I said, Vanessa, I'm the only one with a pin. You don't have to keep calling out names. Let me just get my $1, because I know that's all you ever have in that envelope. Just give me my $1, I can get $1 off of my lunch, and then we can just go from there. And of course, at that moment, Vanessa did what she has done all year long. She put me in my place.
I'm the president, and I'm in charge of this meeting.
Atención! Breaking news! Breaking news! I'm sitting outside a dairy near Wheatland, California, at a time when meat packing plants, dairies, and other agricultural processing facilities are seeing a surge in coronavirus. I am close enough to the dairy that I am leaving my mask on. But what does the president of the Marysville Rotary do at this scary time? She schedules a vocational tour of that same dairy. Oh my God.
Hey, Mary here. I was just driving to work today, and I noticed this homeless guy he was kind of angry, and it reminded me of one of our meetings we had. And I always knew Vanessa. I was a little suspicious about the COVID. I remember distinctly with John Weiler. She was so upset with John when he would click his pen. Let me see if I got a pen here. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. The click of the pen. Do you remember the click of the pen? Okay, so he would click his pen and she gets so upset. And I thought, I'll bet you the first signs of COVID was anger. And we saw it all then, and not one person clued in that it could have been Vanessa. But that was my first hint. I gotta leave it at that.
You know, I first started having some suspicion when she came back from her trip to Germany and we were watching her photo slideshow of everything that she did. Because let me tell you, I've eaten with Vanessa a few times and that girl does not like good food. She likes bland, boring food with no flavor whatsoever. And I was already worried about her going to Germany and like, how's she going to handle food in Europe and how's that going to work out? But then when we're watching her slideshow and I'm like, that's really cool. And it seems like she really had a great adventure. And then all of a sudden I see a picture of her eating bat soup. I started thinking, that just doesn't seem right.
Madam President, may I be recognized?
Whoa. Hey, before this goes any further, I need to provide some evidence that Vanessa is, in fact, not patient zero, despite what the Chinese say. In fact, I've gotten a hold of a video clip from a very beautiful Russian woman sent to me recently. And, well, she wasn't just beautiful. I mean, she was actually, I would even call her voluptuous. I mean, whoa. Well, anyway, this is a video clip that came to me from Facebook Messenger. So let's watch.
In a land far, far away, and longer ago than we thought, lived a rather promiscuous COVID-14 virus who we shall appropriately call Mrs. Robinson. She just could not keep her hands off the young stud viruses. Now, let's go back in the time machine to New Year's Eve, 2018.
Hey there, sexy. Where have you been all my life?
Just graduated from college, ma'am.
What's your name?
Dustin, ma'am. You might know my family, the COVID-18s.
Why, yes, I do. Your family has quite the reputation for partying. How about we have a couple drinky poos and celebrate your accomplishments in school?
I don't know why someone your age would be interested in someone my age. Mrs. Robinson, I understand you're a COVID-14.
It's not polite to mention a woman's age. Now, shut up and follow me upstairs.
Well, it's not hard to imagine what happened next. Oh my God, Mrs. Robinson.
My, I love your spiked protein.
Now, let's fast forward to 9 months later, September 2019.
Well, Dustin, thank you for being in the delivery room with me to bring our new shining star into this world.
Wouldn't miss it for the world, ma'am. Are you sure the baby's going to be all right? You know, COVID-14s are well beyond the safe years for, shall we say, proliferating.
Just shut up and time my contractions. Show 'em to me, Doc. Oh dear, my oh my.
See ya, I'm out of here.
What, you're not gonna even be social about this?
I'm washing my hands with the whole thing. Gonna keep my distance. I think a little isolation would do me good. Probably gonna have to cover my face in shame. So you see, it wasn't Vanessa's doing at all. I mean, that COVID-19 critter didn't even arrive until September. So let's get off of blaming Vanessa here, for crying out loud. So hey, it wasn't Vanessa's doing at all. I mean, when you really get right down to it, it was Dustin Hoffman and Anne Bancroft.
That was the most bizarre conspiracy theory I've ever heard. But the moral of the story is that you can't frame Vanessa for COVID-19. Now, if there is no more breaking news, drunk girl, I would like to talk about Vanessa Helder's accomplishments.